thanks for watching. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I use embossing folders to create texture on my layout. I figured I would show you how to use stuff that you probably have in your stash and incorporate it in with Kiwi Lane. I personally have been scrapbooking for 12 years, or maybe even longer than that. So I have accumulated a lot of tools and a lot of things that I would like to incorporate into my layouts. So I figured maybe I'd show you how I incorporate them. So for this layout, I'll be using the April Kiwi Club kit called All Things Beautiful. I will also be using scallops 1A and 2B, which are borders, cedar trails 1A, and shapes 8T. I will also use the a la carte heart to heart and the a la carte bunny. So as you can see, I will be cutting out my scallops, and I will be using two of the scallops, two different sizes. At first I thought I was going to use the larger one, but I decided that I preferred the cedar trails instead. And you will see me cut. I'm going to cut two of each. So I'm basically making it into, instead of cutting two separate pieces here, I use the cedar trails as like the top of this panel and the scallops as the bottom portion of this panel. And then I will use the second scallops with that yellow paper that you see there on the left. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. There will be a link right there on your right hand side, bottom right corner. It's a little red button, which if you put your mouse over it, you'll be able to subscribe if you're on a computer. I think if you're on your cell phone, you do not get to, you can't subscribe that way. So you would have to log in and click on the subscribe on my channel, which will be linked right around here. So I also want to mention that I'm almost there. I'm 50 subscribers away, or at least last I checked, 50 subscribers away from doing my $50 giveaway at my 500 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing so I can reach my goal quicker and I can give away these $50 that have been burning a hole in my pocket to my Kiwi Club, or my Kiwi scrapbooking boutique. I think that's a better name for it, or Kiwi shop. I don't know. It's kind of late, so I'm a little delirious. I do apologize if I'm rambling on. So I'm cutting out my borders, and I'm not sure which one this is right now. So I'm cutting this one out. I'm going to ink everything up with the Hickory Smoke, my favorite, distress ink. But I will also be showing you, not only am I going to be using embossing folders, but I'm also going to be adding ink to the embossing folders to not only create texture, but to create a, I guess you can call it like a shadowing effect, because it's going to leave ink on the paper, but it's only going to be where either the raised or the raised sections of the folder are, and you'll see that shortly. But in the meantime, if you're watching, you will know that tomorrow, which is May 1st, the release of the Create Memories kit, which is the National Scrapbook Day special release, will be released. I believe at 10 a.m. Central Time. I received it already. It is adorable. I love the little scissors. The camera is not the same size as other cameras that are that have been released before, so you're getting a different size. The paper is super yummy. I'm hoping that I can get my Friday layout just in time for National Scrapbook Day, uploaded and ready for you to see. I was hoping to have it for tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. I need to be a little realistic. So as you can see, I'm trying to match up my borders so that each one of these panels are the same exact size, or as close to the exact size as possible. And yeah, so I'm really excited about how this layout turned out. I think it came out gorgeous. I do feel that the embossing folders, I have so many. I have probably, I don't know, maybe 75 embossing folders. At one point, I did a mystery box from Cricut, and I received about 30 of them. So it was definitely worth the money, but I wish I'd use them more often. You know, sometimes things are out of sight, out of mind, and you don't really, I personally, if I don't see them, I don't use them. So I'm trying to be a little bit better at using things that I know I have. So as I cut this out, you're going to see me cut it out. I'm going to ink them, and then we're going to get into to start getting this layout stuck together. And sorry about my head popping in every once in a while. I try my best to try to stay in frame and keep my head out of the frame, but sometimes it gets a little difficult. So yeah, so that's the scallops 2B. The larger one is then there's an even larger scallop than this, but that's the one that I ended up not using. So I am going to make it thinner than it actually is, and all you got to do is slide it up if you want to make it not as tall as the actual template. So moving right along. For this layout, I do use the Shapes 8T, which is that oval that you see there by my pencil. And I do freehand a little bit when I'm cutting it because it doesn't really look like an egg. It looks like an oval. So I do make it a little shorter so that it kind of resembles an egg, and I think it looks great that way. And one of the eggs I actually make smaller because the piece of paper I had was a little smaller than the shape, and you'll see that shortly. So this is the idea that I have going on here with my layout. This is my little buddy Lily, and this is Palm Sunday, and she's so cute. She had to make sure she got her palms, but she was telling everyone she got her weeds, and we thought that was pretty funny. So now I'm just going to pull out the bunny that I have already cut. This bunny template came with the Beautiful Things, All Things Beautiful kit, as well as this banner, which I'm auditioning, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. It does not end up on my layout. I just couldn't figure out what to do with it. And here I'm trying to see if I wanted to use that paper. And it just, yeah, wasn't happening. So in a second, I will be trying another piece of paper, and that one didn't work either. My dogs decided to chase themselves around the house right now, literally right under my legs. Of course, they were quiet up until the moment I hit record, and they were literally taking a nap under my desk. So I apologize if you hear some running and scratching and growling and all kinds of other things going on here. So here I'm still trying to get this banner up there, and instead I decided to start gluing everything down, and because this is where everything is ultimately going to live. So I decided to bring out the big guns, my ATG gun for this layout. I love my ATG gun, but sometimes I feel like it's so big and clunky that when I'm crafting for a long time, after a while it starts getting a little on the heavy side. So I decided that I'm going to use this pink baker's twine, I guess you can call it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my art glitter glue and glue it down, because that's exactly where I wanted it to go. And then I'm going to use some washi tape to adhere the edges to the back, so it kind of wraps around the page and won't move in the event that it got, pulled off the page, or it didn't adhere properly. But the art glitter glue really works really well on literally everything. I have used it on wood, I've used it on fabric, I've used it on, obviously, on paper, vellum. I love it on vellum because it dries clear, so you can't see the glue marks on the back. So just a little, FYI, if you do use it, if you do use vellum, this works great. So I'm going to use that little owl tape, which I've had for about 100 years. I think that was one of my first rolls of washi tape when washi tape started, coming out, and people were like going crazy with washi tape. And it's still, as you can see, a huge roll. So I'm going to again glue this second string down. And make sure everything is glued down. I'm holding it down for a little bit just so that it doesn't take long. It just takes maybe a couple seconds, and it really does dry pretty quick. But it gives you enough time to move things around if necessary. I had left that bottle overnight without the little needle in it, so I was having a little bit of issues getting the glue out. But then at one point in this video, I stopped the camera and I soaked my little metal tip as well as the plastic tip in some really hot water, and it cleared it up, and then it was back to being perfect. So the bunny will be tossed around a couple times. I'm flipping it back and forth, not deciding where I want it. And here I go again with the banner because I really want to use the banner. And I think at this point I'm like, yeah, it's not happening. So here's where I decide that the eggs are going to happen. You're going to see the different ones that I picked. I don't use all of them because I don't make as many. And sorry about my lunch plate. I had a small sandwich and while I was crafting, and I forgot to take the plate off when I hit record. So I do apologize. It eventually will disappear. So this is the folder that I'm going to use, and it's a We Are Memory Keepers embossing folder. And this one is a larger one. I believe it's 6 by 6. So I'm going to pick, excuse me, a distress ink that is in the same color, and I believe that's Abandoned Coral. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my distressing tool. I'm going to figure out where the egg's going to go, and then I am going to lightly, but not really lightly. You know what I mean? I'm not pushing the ink into the grooves. I'm just trying to go right over the top whatever is raised. And then I'm going to bring out my Big Shot, or my Big Kick rather. And I believe this is by Sizzix. And here is where I get rid of the plate. Sorry about that. And I'm just trying to figure out how many shimmies I need. I don't use my Big Kick as often as I'd like. So, I'm a little rusty right now. So here is what it looks like. And these are actually embossed. They're not raised. They're in the paper. Or maybe that's debossed. I'm not sure. But you see how the ink kind of like is like on the top portions, like the flat parts of it. I really like how that looked. So now I'm doing this same thing to this darker, I guess that's like a purpley color. And here's where I just trim off a couple inches, and I'm just using my scissor, and I'm just eyeballing it. And I'll do that to a few different ones, and they're all going to be run through an embossing folder, including this one with the plaid, I guess it's plaid pattern. And I'm cutting, they're not all the same size. Some of them are taller, some of them are shorter. Excuse me. It is allergy season and it's really killing me. And here's my yellow one. This is the one I was mentioning that I was going to make smaller. And as you can see, I just went in a little bit so that it would have like kind of an egg shape. So I end up using 5 eggs on my layout. So this is the last one I'll be cutting. And I don't know if I will be. Maybe not. I don't think I show every egg being run through the machine. Let's see. For this one, I'm going to use the Distress Oxide in the Broken China. And yep, I guess I am going to show it. And as you can see, where the swirls are, it's really not getting color. And that's because the swirls are low, like the other parts of it are raised. So that's what's getting the color. And so these are the different colors I'm using. Spiced Marmalade in the Oxide ink for this little yellow cricket. It's a Cuttlebug one. And I'm just going to run them through the machine. I have the machine on the floor right next to me because I don't have table space because there's piles everywhere. I'm a messy scrapbooker. So that's what it looks like. And now I'm going to do the blue one. And that's what the blue one looks like. And then let's see what else. I believe I'm going to show you how I clean them. I just use a baby wipe and I wipe the ink off of them just to make sure that the ink doesn't stain them. And the ink comes right off with a baby wipe. So if you were wondering, it doesn't stain, it'll come right up. So here's where I'm playing with my eggs, trying to figure out where they're going to go. So for this one, for the plaid one, I decided to use a polka dot one. And I end up using, I believe, the blue Broken China again on this one. And I just wanted to put the blue on the actual dots. So it'll take a second and you will be seeing my blue polka dots. I don't know if you can see that really good, but I will have close-up pictures at the end and you'll be able to see them all. And for this last one, I'm going to use the chevron, which this is probably my favorite egg out of all of them. That one and the yellow one. The yellow one I really like too. And then we'll get ready to put this layout together. And at this point, it's going to come together pretty quickly because there's not really much more that I do other than add the eggs. I will mat my pictures, and I will be using 2 of the 4x6 cards that came in the kit. So I will ink my edges of my eggs first. And the reason why I'm inking the edges of the egg is because I feel like it'll give them a little more pop, especially for the ones that I'm going to pop off the page with foam tape. And I have to tell you that I put my pictures together, and as you can see here, I'm picking one of the cards. I'm going to glue them in a, not straight down. They're going to have a little, I don't know, tilt to them. But when I am doing that top set of pictures, I'm so mad at myself. You'll see. I had to reprint the pictures because I got tape all over it, and then I tried to remove the tape with the tape, that little eraser thingy, and that didn't really work very well. So here's where I decide that I'm going to pop up my egg, and I'm going to use that Scotch tape. I'm not sure. I get it at Home Depot. It's like a mounting tape. So it's for pictures and for posters and stuff. Okay, so here's where I'm going to use the second card for my picture, and I was going to use the plaid, but then I decided to go with the darker color. And here's where no, that's not it. I eventually screw it up. And I think this is it. I had put tape down on the paper, and now I'm going to try to take the glue off of it, and it just gets all icky and yucky. So just so that you know, I didn't edit it out because not everything is perfect or happens perfectly when you're scrapbooking. So, you know, that just is kind of, you know, how life goes sometimes. So I'm going to continue with this layout while my picture is printing, and I'm going to start to figure out where I'm going to put everything. And this yellow egg is going to be popped up as well, and I'll be using the mounting tape. And I think at this point my picture, oh no, I'm going to cut this mounting piece tape in half to make it, you know, make it fit. And I will decide to glue these two down, and the yellow egg will go right on top of them as if they were kind of lined up in front of each other. And I think I'm grabbing my second picture right now. Yeah, now I'm going to add some adhesive to it, and there it is again. And I am happy with the way that looks. Bunny's going to go right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere everything. And then I decide to use some of the yellow tape, the yellow twine to make a little bow around my bunny. And it was fun. I think it looks so cute with the little bow on it. And there I try to put it on the right side again. So we're going to I'm going to use some of this foam tape. And the reason why I'm using this piece of foam as opposed to the Scotch foam that I used earlier is because this one's a little thicker, so it'll pop up a little more than what the eggs did, because the purple one is popped up, the purple egg. So I wanted it to be a little higher than the purple egg. So I'm just looking at the cards, and I'm going to use the Some Bunny Loves You. And this is where I decide to use the a la carte heart to heart. And I'm going to just make a heart and cut it out real quick. So we are coming very close to being at the end of the video. Once again, thanks again for shopping. Make sure to find me on Facebook or Instagram. I will be sharing the May sale items, which will begin May 1st. There is going to be a sale that starts tomorrow and ends, I believe, May 6th. There will be some items that will be up to 50% off. So make sure you check out the sale tomorrow. I believe it starts at 10 a.m. That's Central Standard Time. So so for me, that would be 12 p.m. for Eastern Time. So there'll be links in my description to my Kiwi shop. If I am not your instructor, make sure you visit your instructor. If you don't have an instructor, you're more than welcome to request for me to be your instructor, and I'd love that. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. So I just used my Heidi Swap stamp, which has a month in cursive, which I really like. And I used some Brutus Monroe detail ink. And now I'm going to pull out my trusty thickers, which these are probably one of my favorite thickers. And I'm just going to spell out Palm Sunday. It has a date on it, so we know it's 20, it just happened a couple weeks ago. And I will add some little enamel dots that came in the March, I believe it was the March kit, that I had left over, and they match perfectly with the colors, which that is one thing that I absolutely love. If things, when colors coordinate and you can mix and match, that's probably one of my favorite things to do, because sometimes you have a couple scraps, and you can extend what you have by mixing and matching. So the struggle is real here because these letters are tiny. And my fingers, although I have tiny fingers, sometimes when I'm trying to pick these little letters up, it's like I have huge, like 3 thumbs. So there's my Palm Sunday. Love how that looks. I'm going to grab my enamel dots, and I'm going to call it a night. Let me know if you'll be scrapbooking for National Scrapbook Day, which is this Saturday. Actually, all weekend is National Scrapbooking Day. So make sure to go onto the Kiwi Lane website, Facebook page. They will be having different giveaways, and you maybe you'll win something. I won something last year, so you never know. Have a great night. Bye.